Welcome to Framework for the Family. I'm Bomani Tyehimba, and I'm here with my co-host Zeke Adams. We're still waiting for Brian to come back. He's supposed to be back next week. Is that right?
Supposedly, yeah.
He's going to be back next week, but we always want to mention Brian, who's an integral part of this podcast, and he will be back, and we're looking forward to his return. But today, you get Zeke and myself. And we'd like you to remember to push that like button, push that subscribe button.
Yes, please.
And look at our podcast and give us some feedback.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to bring forth a topic that Zeke has been chomping at the bit to discuss.
Yes.
And we're going to frame it as the, gender roles in the marriage.
Yeah. Is it a win or a flop?
Is it a win? That's his, he just said, is it a win or a flop? Gender roles. So we're going to be discussing today gender roles in the family, in the marriage, and take it away, Zeke.
Okay. So I have been eager to bring this topic up because of some things that just recently happened and some information and talking to people. Again, we thank you guys for tuning in and just listening to our conversations. Some things is just conversation to talk about. Some things might be some of the conversations that we talk about might be affecting your home, and it's good for you and your significant other, your boyfriend or girlfriend, to communicate. And these are different topics that we communicate on. This past week, gender roles.
Gender roles.
I listened to a couple of people talk about gender roles. Some of them are saying it works. Most people are saying it doesn't work.
So give us an overview of what you mean by gender roles.
Yeah, so let's just say
in the context of marriage.
In the context of marriage,
yes.
As a female, their job might be, hey, you take care of the kitchen, the cooking, take care of the cleaning. I'll take care of the outside. I'll do this.
So you mow the lawn.
I'll mow the lawn.
Take out the garbage cans,
the weeds, and all that.
Okay.
When it comes to bills, you pay this half of the bills. I pay this half of the bills. And normally, the gender role is that a woman will be more in the house.
Okay.
And a man will be more outside.
Okay.
Why this gender role even showed up is what I'm still trying to learn. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about gender roles.
Okay.
Why are they there? And now that I have read in some scriptures, to me, there should not be a gender role.
There should not be a gender
I think it's
role.
A flop.
He thinks it's a flop.
It's a flop.
It's a flop. Okay, so you're going to elaborate on why you believe that gender roles are a flop. So let me see if I can frame this the way you look at it. There are certain things in the marriage that a woman should be responsible for: cleaning, cooking, taking care of the kids. Is that a gender role that's fit for that's restricted to the woman?
In some cases, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
In some cases, yes. Mm-hmm. All right. And a man should be his role is society, or is it society, or is it biblical, or what are you saying? So it's a flop because of what? From the perspective of
the Bible.
Of the Bible.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so a man, as you said, he should be outside. So if he's going to be mowing the lawn, taking out the garbage, doing, I guess, quote unquote, what are manly duties?
Yes, manly duties.
Okay. So he'd be changing the oil, or responsible for taking the car to the place.
Mowing the yard. A lot of the manly things, the manly duties, washing the cars,
if there's something wrong in the house, a cabinet is shaky table.
The cabinet,
he's got to make sure that the table is level. If the light goes out,
change the bulb,
he's got to go downstairs and go to the breaker box and switch it back. That's the man's
furnace go out. If he can't repair it, he has to make sure someone there to repair it.
The man has to do that.
that is what society is.
Okay.
That is what society
Okay.
is clarifying these gender roles.
Okay.
And a lot of people are taking upon these gender roles.
Okay.
You got the housewife now. You know, the housewife is a person who's stays in the house. She wakes up in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
She makes sure all of the clothes is washed.
Okay.
She gets the kids ready for school.
Mm-hmm.
And the husband gets up. He takes a shower, puts on his tie.
Mm-hmm.
Honey, I'm gone. Kiss on the cheek. He's gone. And then her day begins with, preparing the meal for the evening,
Mm-hmm.
making sure that they have enough food for the evening,
Mm-hmm.
making sure the kids' clothes is clean, making sure the house is clean, making sure that these are these gender roles that has picked up. And
so why is that a flop? I mean, particularly if it's a stay-at-home mom,
mm-hmm.
okay, and she's taking care of the household, making sure that the kids are taken care of,
Mm-hmm.
clothes, fed, get to school, get on the bus,
Mm-hmm.
come back home. There's a meal waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Husband comes home. He has a meal. What's wrong with that?
I think it really overloads the woman.
Oh, overloads. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's something that was created, and what happens is that the female really gets her stress level goes up,
Okay.
anxiety goes up,
Okay.
her time, alone time becomes less.
Okay.
By the time she gets done back, it's time to pick the kids up, get the kids, ready for to eat for dinner, homework, all other things. Husband comes home, he goes upstairs, watch a game, and she's still.
There's no games on Monday night.
Well, I mean,
Monday Night Football.
whatever. But it puts a load
Okay.
on her. And
Okay.
when you talk to divorced people, and you're saying, well, how was the dynamics of the family? Well, I was a housewife.
Okay.
I was, and it leaves to me. It leaves the woman vulnerable. If I've seen people where people have left their college or put their degrees aside to become stay-at-home moms.
Mm-hmm.
This is truth. And there's two people I'm talking to today, and 13 years later,
Mm-hmm.
2 kids later,
Mm-hmm.
the relationship or the marriage didn't work out, and they're now starting from the beginning, that far out of work,
Mm-hmm.
trying to catch up in their late 30s
Mm-hmm.
of where other people are at when they got advances or they're moving on to better jobs or whatnot. They're pretty much starting from scratch,
Mm-hmm.
and they're left out there, and now they have the kids and a lot of I would say a lot of areas where a woman is have her children, and she has been a housewife.
Mm-hmm.
It takes her further to get and accomplish what she could have done
Mm-hmm.
with no kids. So I've only now that's not a lot of people to bank that off of.
Mm-hmm.
But just looking at the scenario and talking to other therapists with women who are housewives, there's a major downside, especially if it's a divorce.
Okay.
A major downside.
So before you get to a divorce, let's say before we get to a divorce.
That's just if it's a divorce. We're not staying on divorce.
Sure, I know. I know.
Mhm.
So I see this topic of gender roles working in different scenarios. One, you have a stay-at-home mom
Mm-hmm.
and a father who's working outside the home.
Yeah.
That's one. There could be two professionals. The mother's working, the father's working. They have children. So
I'm getting to that.
Okay, all right. So
Yeah.
yeah, speak to that one.
So the other one is that what we talked about earlier. Let's just say both are working,
Mm-hmm.
and the woman has the house chores, washing clothes, the dishes, the cooking, on top of her work schedule.
Okay.
And the husband have the chores of making sure the house maintenance is together, the outside, the yard is together,
The cars are together.
the cars are together. That's his chore. What I recently found out, that has a way of kind of putting two people in an area where they don't have to do the other person's role. Let's just say your wife worked an 8-hour shift and they asked her to stay another hour.
Okay.
You get home, you mow the yard, you sitting there with your tea in your hand and you're waiting for her to cook. And she comes home tired. Well, I did my job, and she's like, well, couldn't you? Well, that's not my role.
Okay.
That happens more often when people are in their 10-year marriage, when people start to actually put their gender roles as this is it. This is my role. This is what I'm doing. I'm not doing anything else. Now, we're talking about the divorce rate.
Okay.
Why is the divorce rate so high? We have to look at that. We have to look at why is it so high, and then start to see why some of these things are not working. 9 times out of 10, people who do gender roles, they will actually pick something they're not good at to not do it. I'm not good at paying the bills, so you pick that up. I'm not good with mowing the yard. You're good. You do that. I'm not good with this. I'm not good with that. That is not how marriage works. Marriage is for people to be equal, as in the house, outside of the house, in finances, and for people to be equal from the level of managing the house all the way down to managing the bills. And this is what I've learned in reading the scriptures and stuff like that. And I want you to look up while I'm talking Genesis 1:26 and 27.
Genesis 1:26 and 27.
And it talks about us being equal.
Okay.
It talks about the man and the woman was created equal. What does it say?
This is out of the New International Version. Then God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them.
Right. So
what are you about to explain that one, how that relates to this topic?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I think that on that particular passage, it also states that God did not, in the passage, there was no identification of a gender role, in making them. When God created man and woman, woman was supposed to be a helpmate. Okay. And defining a helpmate, that is a helpmate that is able to help with areas where a man or a woman might not be able to get to. So let's just say, for instance, you know what? Same role. You mowed the yard. Your wife is coming home late. She gets in. You prepared the dinner. You prepared the food for the evening. Okay? That is a helpmate. And it doesn't mean that the woman is supposed to always be there to jump on things that you cannot do. What it really means is that you guys are supposed to share equal value. If someone cannot do it, we're having dinner tonight. Who can get to it? And if you can get to it, then you can get to it. If she gets to it, if you're working and she's at home, then you're coming home to a meal. It's supposed to be able, even with bills, finances, things like that. It's supposed to be equal.
So what is it about those scriptures that relates to the subject matter of gender roles?
It just talks about equality. Okay. It talks about the man and the woman. When God created them, equal is always used. When you say equal, equality, equal, the same, it doesn't say God created woman to do this and do that, and God created man to do this.
So the scripture, I would say, is talking about the value, because he made them both in his image, male and female.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of value, there's equality of value for the male. There's equality of value for the woman. That's what I'm getting from the scripture, is that they both are equal in a sense that they both hold value in God's eyes.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. So so to me, that's why it's a flop to me. I just think that in talking with people, I did talk to a
You
therapist.
gotta explain this flop. Give me the flop.
The flop is that.
Tell me the flop. What the flop is.
Okay. So more cases than one, people become entitled to their own the things that they need to do at the house. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not going to step outside of what I'm doing.
Okay. So So let me see if I can articulate your position. What you're saying is, if there's this rigid idea that my role is this as the man, your role is this as the woman, okay, and we can't deviate from those roles as I see it, then that's the framework for a flop.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I could go, but okay, I could go along with that, because let's take for instance, if I'm so rigid that I believe that the gender role is that a woman should be cooking, and we have two workers in the household. I'm working, she's working. We're both going out. We have a 9 to 5, working from 9 to 5. We both get home around 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Children have gotten home, and if I'm rigid about her being the one that should be cooking, so I'm coming home expecting a hot meal.
Yep.
I'm like Fred Flintstone.
Mm-hmm.
Wilma, where's the food?
Right.
Okay. And in going back to your scenario, hey, maybe she had to work an hour that day. Maybe she even had to go in earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And my gender role, because I'm rigid about my gender roles, I'm expecting a meal when I get home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care nothing about she had to come home, going to work early. I don't care if she had to work late. And then I'm coming in with my chest puffed out, and I'm expecting a hot meal on as soon as I walk in the door.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if it's not there, it's going to be some problems.
Yeah,
and I'm going to express that.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with you if you have that mindset.
That personality.
That's how it can flop.
Yeah.
Versus, and I guess from your perspective is that if we're going to do what it takes to make the household function,
Mm-hmm.
okay, then I shouldn't have that rigid idea of gender roles.
Right.
And if I can come home, I should be able to step in when those instances come up. You know what? I'm going to cook, baby. Or you know what? I'm going to order in some DoorDash. Okay, I'm going to do whatever it takes, because you had a hard day. I'm going to step in.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I can see your point.
Okay, so what is it?
So what it all goes back to, even if there are, quote unquote, I think you should be doing this and I should be doing that. If it wouldn't be a flop if we understand that we are going to make sure that whatever it takes to make our household function smoothly, then it won't be a flop. But we both have to have that mindset.
Well, then you're not looking at, like I said, either. We're talking about a person or a couple that have a mindset of a gender role.
And you're not going to deviate from it.
I
can see that.
To see, or to people who are saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to pick up the slack when the slack is needed. I'm going to pick up, I'm going to do extra if the extra is needed.
Okay.
I'm not really worried, because I know that my wife, if on a Sunday, if I'm at work and our day is to wash the cars, to get ready to, start the week, or on a Friday, wash the cars. You know what? My wife's out there, she washed the cars.
What if she want to stay inside and watch, I don't know,
the soaps?
Well, that's no soaps on Sunday, but she wants to,
or watch Lifetime, right, or something like that.
I'll say this, Z.
Yeah.
If there is this rigid, as I explained it, this rigid idea of gender roles, and you're not going to deviate from that, and if there's issues where your better half, your spouse, is not living up to what I believe the gender role should be, then I can see that there can be a problem in the marriage, you know, and that it could be a flop, as you say. Are you saying that most marriages are like that?
No, I'm not saying that most marriages. I'm saying that we have a large amount of divorces.
Okay.
And trying to dissect why that is so high.
Okay.
The gender role is a part of that conversation.
Okay.
You know, not saying that's the end all be all.
Okay.
But a gender role
can lead to
that
to that problems in the marriage, which may snowball into divorce. So let's speak to this issue to an audience who, and there may be someone out there that you're rigid on your gender roles. My wife should be doing this, and my husband should be doing that, and if they deviate from that, you know, you're having some problems with that. What could we say to those particular people to give them another way? And if they maybe have some problems, you know, in their marriage. So what could we say to them to guide them? Is if you're in that rigid state of mind where you are saying the wife should be doing this, the man should be doing that, and they're not doing that, and you now have some problems in your marriage because of that. What could we say to those who are in that position?
If you're having problems in your marriage on the gender roles, I think it's a conversation to see whether or not that is working for you. Okay, some cases it does. All right.
Well, no. This one, scenarios, it's not working.
Okay, it's not.
What are we going to tell?
And
what are we going to tell? Because they're rigid. They're rigid.
Right. They're rigid. Okay.
Husband should be doing this. Wife should be doing that.
There should be a
We're having some problems.
Yeah.
You know, and it could be leading to arguments in the family.
Tension.
And if we tension and what have you, arguments, tension, what have you. And if we don't get it in check, we know it's going to lead to another step, maybe leading to divorce, separation, or what have you. What can we do to what can we tell these couples to put like stop? What can we tell?
I would say that
look into the camera.
Oh my
God. Go ahead.
This guy. You know, I would say that you should have a conversation with your spouse. And if that is not working, to find a different avenue on doing chores, whether it's bill paying, the mechanics of the house, and to be comfortable in taking on roles that you might not normally do. Like most men, I cook, learn how to cook.
You know how to cook?
A little bit. Not much, but,
okay, sure.
I'm learning.
I got you.
I'm into learning. So, learn how to cook. Be able to...
You're telling the man learn how to cook?
Yeah. Okay. Men, if you don't know how to cook, learn how to cook. Women, I don't want to get in that one yet. But,
there's some women out there that can't cook.
Learn how to cook. I'm going to say the same thing for the women.
Yes.
Women, learn how to cook. And when you do that, we're talking about peace in the home. We're talking about having value for each other. Your spouse will see value, that you're helping her, coming home to a hot meal and she's been working, she's tired. Even rubbing her feet, man. Come on, baby, rub your feet.
Okay.
It brings peace in the home when you're able to jump between roles. Yes. And that is what scientists or therapists are saying when it comes to being able to jump in between roles. You might have to mow the yard. If your wife is still at work, you might have to come in and cook a meal for the kids too. Not just wait until the person comes in. And this is why gender roles really has a negative impact, just because people start to lean on that. Okay. And more people lean on that, and that is a part of this divorce statement, or why people are divorced when it comes to that. Housewives is up in there. It's just, and so is gender roles. So people are talking about, well, he's all or she's always on me for not cutting the grass.
Okay.
Or she's
fixing that leaky faucet.
Fixing that leaky faucet. She's always on me about this. And
speaking of which, I got a leaky faucet at home. I didn't take care of it. That reminded me. Gender roles.
Gender role. And you know, and I'm working all the time. And I'm doing this. I mean, she could have called a plumber. She could have did this. She could have done that. And that brings friction into the home. So, to me, it's a flop.
Well, it would be a flop in the sense only if there is an expectation on a rigid basis that here are the roles that's going to take place in our household. I am the man. I'm going to do 1 through 10. You are the woman. You do 1 through 10. Okay, whatever that 1 through 10 is, or 1 through 5. You know, I'm just if there is a rigidness about that, okay, and you are not willing, and there is no deviation from that, then in that sense it can be a flop, because you've taken your eyes off the goal of the family. The family is supposed to operate at a successful level. Okay. Unit. Okay. Unit. Right. Exactly. Successful unit. And if there are some things that are that are impacting that in a negative sense, if you're going to be rigid about my role, if I'm going to be rigid about my role and I'm not doing that, then yes, it can be a flop. Mm-hmm. If the goal is to make sure that the family is successful, a successful unit, then you can't have that rigid expectation that my spouse has to do that and I'm only doing this. Then you've lost the goal of a successful family. And if you're in that situation, then I agree with you, it can be a flop. Mm-hmm. But if the goal is to make sure that the family stays together, that the marriage stays together, that we are a successful unit, then you're going to have to change your mindset. So I would say, if you're in that rigid position of a gender role, if you want your marriage, your family to stay together, you're going to have some flexibility. And that would be my message. If there's some couples out there that are dealing with some problems with gender roles, my husband is saying I should be doing X, Y, and Z, or my wife is saying I should be X, Y, and Z, and those and my mindset is we just need to make sure that it gets done. If you're having that problem, you need to step back, pray about it, and understand that the goal is to keep the family together. So this has been a great topic. I'm Bomani Tyehimba. The takeaway is you need to do whatever it takes to keep your family together. Don't have this rigid idea that men are only supposed to do this, women are only supposed to do that. And if you deviate from that, and I can't deviate from that, you're going to have some problems in your marriage.
Gender roles a flop.
In that sense. In that sense. But yes. So I'm Bomani Tyehimba.
Zeke Adams.
And we've been talking about gender roles in the family. And Zeke says it's a flop. I say...
You say it's a flop too. You're just trying to make it more sensitive. It's a flop.
No, I made it a flop only from the standpoint if it's rigid, okay? Yeah, gender roles in the family.
Doesn't work out.
Doesn't work out if you're rigid. But if your goal is to keep your family together, you're going to find a way to get along and do whatever it takes to keep your family together, keep your marriage together. I'm Bomani Tyehimba. This is Zeke Adams, and we are talking from Framework. What's the title of our framework?
Framework for the family. And also, too, guys, leave a comment. We would love to get information from you guys on these topics. Again, we're working behind the scenes. There are more people talking about getting together as a forum, getting together with people who are married, a round table or around a circle type conversation on these different topics.
And we'll be back.
Yeah.
The next time.
We'll be back.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.